What is going on, Colts Nation? Welcome back to another episode of Bring the Juice. Your guys, Cody and Derek, back with another one, guys. Indianapolis Colts wide receiver Alec Pierce made some comments to the media today regarding kind of his role this year, what he's preparing for, how he's kind of approaching it. Wanted to kind of touch on some of his comments and kind of give our thoughts overall when it comes to Alec Pierce, because I feel like we've talked about him a lot on this channel, and just want to kind of talk about it and kind of think about what he had to say and kind of break that down. So we're going to do that. So Alec Pierce was talking about kind of what he's out to prove this year. And, the big thing was he said he's out to prove that he's more than just a one-trick pony at wide receiver. Now, Derek, obviously we know Alec Pierce. That's probably how we would describe him, to be honest with you. I mean, he's a guy that definitely has that home run ability. I mean, we saw that multiple times last year where he's a guy that you just throw the ball deep and he can go make a play. I mean, there's no doubt about that. But we definitely said Alec Pierce is not anywhere near a complete wide receiver. I mean, no doubt, Derek, when you look at Alec Pierce, he definitely has some stuff that, is desired in a wide receiver. And so definitely looking for Alec Pierce to do that. But he said he is out to prove that there's a lot more to his game than just that thing, right? That's what he had told Stephen Holder. He said, I just want to have the chance to be able to showcase that, in terms of proving that he's more than just a deep threat type of guy. Now, remember last year, Alec Pierce ran the eighth most routes in the NFL, but only had 65 targets. And of those, only caught 32 of those for 514 yards and 2 touchdowns. And again, Derek, it's well documented at this point that Alec Pierce was open a lot of times down the field, but the Colts just didn't get him the ball. But when it comes to Alec Pierce's, kind of his comments when it comes to the type of wide receiver he wants to become and what he wants to prove, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, so I mean, I look at the actions of Alec Pierce, and from some of the videos that we've seen over the off season, looking and seeing if he's improved in any way, I can definitely see the work improving for Alec Pierce. He looks a lot more fluid in his movement and looks like he is definitely putting in the work. I do definitely believe that Alec Pierce can have a lot more opportunities within his game that I just don't think that a lot of people have given him credit for. I do believe that he can be more than that one trick pony that everybody talks about. But originally, before, it wasn't his thing. He was not, what was the one thing we always talked about with him coming into the NFL? He has the size, he has the athleticism, he runs verts. But otherwise, route running was definitely not to be desired when it came to Alec Pierce. But we've seen him working with Reggie Wayne all these years, and we're trying to continue to see if he will continue to do more in that aspect. I do believe that he is going to have more opportunities this year, and I think Alec Pierce is going to surprise a lot of people this next year. He's always been the one to do all the dirty work and put in that hard work and try to fix his game. And I think, as we talked about in another video that's going to go up at some point, we talked about, whether or not he has to prove it in some way. And, he does, because he's got more competition now. We got a guy on the team that's returning from injury this last year that's going to demand a lot of attention. And you just drafted a wide receiver in the second round who has been getting big national media attention. So, I mean, there is a lot at stake for Alec Pierce. And I think that he has not shied away from it, but has in fact embraced it. And I think that that is the sign of a really mature player. And I can't wait to see him progress this next year.
Yeah, I think it's very telling that despite the fact that Alec Pierce ran so many routes last year, he saw so many targets or so little targets last year in comparison, yet didn't complain once, didn't make an issue of it, but just wants to do his best to get those opportunities. And like he said, earn the trust of the coaching staff to give him those opportunities. I think that just shows that he's a kid with the right mindset. Now, whether or not, obviously, he's going to become that player, we don't know yet. But he definitely has that right mindset, and I think that is a big, big thing and a big deal for Alec Pierce to just have that. And that's kind of seems very motivated. Seems like he has a chip on his shoulder. And like we talked about in the other video, he definitely seems like a guy that is not comfortable with where he is. Right, he is a guy that is uncomfortable right now, and that's a really good thing because he wants to get better. He wants to prove himself, and I think out of all the wide receivers, he is the one with the most to prove for sure. Because the Colts brought in another guy, like you talked about, another guy that's going to cut into his snaps potentially. Right, so that's definitely something that we got to talk about with Alec Pierce. And I think he has that right mindset going into it. But I did mention that, so we got to talk about it because part of the question that in the conversation with Alec Pierce was on the idea of the presence of Adonai Mitchell, who obviously the Colts drafted in round 2 out of Texas. And, a lot of people have already kind of talked about, Adonai Mitchell as that number 2 outside wide receiver, which obviously that was Alec Pierce's role the last couple seasons. A lot of people have kind of penciled him in right now. And obviously, they still have Josh Downs. You talked about some of the tight ends as well that are going to get some things. And Alec Pierce said, this is his job to prove that he can handle that larger workload as well. This is what Alec Pierce had to say. He said, high tides raise all ships. You're going to get better from your competition. So the competitive spirit, that's what you got to work on. So I think just that mindset, Derek, and the fact that they are competing like that, and Alec Pierce feels that, I think that's only going to make not just Alec Pierce, but both Alec Pierce and Adonai Mitchell even better in 2024 and moving forward. So what are your thoughts on kind of Alec Pierce's mindset there and kind of his comments when it comes to the competition he's going to have potentially with AD Mitchell for that number 2 wide receiver room and just the snaps in general on this offense?
Yep, like you said, competition. The Colts praise it, and they want to live with it. And that's just you deal with competition and challenges every day in the NFL. And to have another one brought in with Adonai Mitchell, that is just going to, again, add more pressure, more challenges, more competition in the face of Alec Pierce. And it will really show you whether or not he's serious about becoming this next great wide receiver for the Indianapolis Colts, or if he's just going to continue to be a role player that he is. It really is going to be a telltale sign. And I really liked that quote. I think that it shows a lot. And I think that it is a great opportunity for Alec Pierce. I mean, again, I'm truly super excited to see what Alec Pierce will do. I think his head's in the right place. And if he just stays that way all throughout the season, just don't drop the ball, bro. And we're gonna have some fun.
And I think there is a very likely scenario that all 4 of these wide receivers, they get serious snaps. Like, I think there's seriously like a world where this happens, and I don't think there's an issue. So regardless of who does technically win that, I think Adonai Mitchell and Alec Pierce definitely have roles on this team and on this offense. And I'm just excited to see it all come together. But more than that, I'm excited to see this competition and how these guys improve. And at the end of the day, they're on the same team, right? And they all have the same goal. That's to win. And I think these guys are going to do everything they can to push each other to be the best versions of they can, the best versions of themselves at wide receiver that they can. And if they can do that, man, I have no doubt this wide receiver room is going to be a ton of fun this year, like you mentioned. So, guys, let us know your thoughts here on some of the comments that Alec Pierce was talking about when it comes to kind of who he is as a wide receiver, what his goals are, and kind of his mindset going into this competition, into the 2024 regular season. Let us know all those things in the comments down below. But guys, that'll do it for this one. Thank you so much for tuning in. We greatly appreciate it. Be sure to smash that like button, hit subscribe, turn on the notification bell, all that good stuff so you know when we drop fresh content just like this. And also, why not? Let us know, who do you think is going to win wide receiver 2 for the Indianapolis Colts in the preseason / training camp, all that stuff. Let us know those things in the comments. But that'll do it for this one, guys. Thanks so much. And as always, go Colts.